Welcome back to Favorite Cheese Podcast. We had a cute little break last week because it was a holiday and it was all crazy madness. And I don't know about you, but that was really nice and like not in a bad way, in like a great way, and like now we're fresh and I can't wait to like do it again. So many of you messaged and were like, we missed you, and that felt really nice and sweet.
Yeah. We just wanted you. We wanted to know that you.
Yeah,
missed us.
that's why we did it. We were like, let's take a break. Let's let them miss us, and then we'll come back.
And Lee's weird patriotic rant on the last podcast. That's why we didn't air it. She was dressed as Uncle Sam.
I got real dark and heavy, and many people were like, you can't air this. And it was an internet week of you shouldn't put that on the internet.
She was using her ukulele. It was really weird.
Real nightmare. No, truly, I think we were just like, oh yeah, that makes sense. We can take a break.
No, yeah, we needed a break for America.
Yeah. But now we're back and we're ready to go. And I don't know about you, but I feel more invigorated.
I feel invigorated. I feel American.
Do you feel American? Do you feel alive?
I feel alive.
Good.
I also feel quite dead.
Yeah, I also
it's a hybrid.
feel quite dead.
Yeah.
Delman, he seems like he's chill and placid right now. I think it's because
I ran out of energy.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think you ran out of a lot of energy because today you did something you've wanted to do since you were a child.
We're going to go back. The year was 2001.
Oh no. Now we're going back in time.
I had spiky hair, a World Industries t-shirt.
I did nothing but hopes and dreams. Nothing but hopes
a wallet
and dreams.
Connected to a chain with nothing in it.
Yeah.
But it was cool.
But it was cool. It was really cool. You had some Junko jeans on.
Oh, man. Yeah. I did have the Junko jeans on. I mean, I put the patch on myself. They were just baggy jeans, but we were poor, so like I needed people
you got to like let people think you had Junko
but
jeans.
I was pretty cool, even though I was in band and playing bagpipes, and I couldn't play too long because my braces would cut the top part of my mouth.
No one needs to know these facts, I think.
But me and my friend Michael, we were trying to be cool, you know? And we always would talk about our future together, you know?
As you do in junior
as
high.
Guys growing old together as old buds and getting into fun things like falconry and how cool it would be. And I mean, many of you listening at home.
You guys have already known that falconry and falcons have been on Delman's list for a very long time.
Yeah.
And our friend Steph was...
that's now Michael's now wife.
Michael's now wife was just a real gem, and she found...
I think she was tired of us talking about it.
I think so.
And
I think
like,
you guys
we need to get to the bottom of this.
You continuously would talk about like, oh, I need to become a falconer, and we'd always be like, that's a lot harder than you think it is. And both of you had it dead set in your mind.
Nah.
So for his birthday and your birthday, we did a joint birthday thing, and we went and we... there's this amazing guy in LA, and now I can say amazing because we've been to him, and we can officially say this guy is awesome and incredible, and I wish everyone had the chance to see him and meet him and see all the hawks. But it's called Hawk on Hand. He's a licensed falconer, which we learned today is a lot more involved than just like, I have birds. You can't just have those types of birds. They're all protected. They're all everything. But she found this amazing place in LA, and she was like, let's go on this day. We had no idea that it would be as cool as it was.
No, it was great.
And
I didn't know what to expect.
I didn't know what to expect.
I was
either.
expecting some guy that was questionable and was going to say things that were questionable.
Yeah, I was expecting like a little right-wing situation where he's
a
like...
little don't tread on me.
Yeah, I was expecting that for sure.
I was expecting full Tiger King. Like
Joe Exotic.
Like this guy just opens up his, Yaris and these like hawks fly out and he's like...
And like all of them are really ill-behaved.
That's what I was picturing.
Instead, we got the hottie of all hotties.
Yeah, little like East Side.
Yeah, he was
this is such a hipster
an
to the point.
An NPR-loving falconer.
How did you get into falconry? Well, I was listening to NPR. That's literally
how it started. And then he also was like, oh, also I was a bird biologist.
Because
we're like, oh, yeah, that.
Yeah.
But it was so cool. And essentially we got to, Delman really got to dive in deep. All of us did. We all of our friends, we got to like learn a lot about all these birds, and then have them fly and come and land on our hand. And as lame as that sounds, it's actually some of the most adrenaline and dopamine I've had in the last 5 years.
Yeah, no, it's not lame.
Well, I'm just saying it sounds like, oh yeah, they flew and they flew back. And I was like, yeah. And in that moment, I felt everything again. And in that moment, I felt it all.
Yeah.
But we met an owl named Archie. We met a Harris hawk named Jasper.
Yeah.
And we met, what was the other one's name? I can't remember.
Which one?
Kunoni?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was amazing. I don't know what kind of hawk she was.
Yeah, so if you're like, what is happening in this conversation right now?
I blacked out.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So,
I apologize.
So basically, like, falconry, he explained it to us, because I actually technically didn't really know much about it. I found out today I might be what they call a perch. What is it? Perch sexy? Or what is it?
Perch candy.
Oh, yeah. I might be into perch candy.
Yeah.
Which is just the guys.
You just want a bird to land on your arm. You don't want to do the actual work of falconry.
Well, yeah, because I guess falconry is like using the birds to hunt.
Yes.
Now,
it's been around like 5,000 years.
I was more in the mindset of using the bird to deliver messages.
Sure. That's a completely different kind of bird.
No, they do both.
Sure, but I'm just saying it's not that guy.
Having the bird perch on my shoulder, on my head. I will say though that although he's a very cool guy, after scoping the Instagram, there's some perchy shots, and those are the shots.
Of course, that's an Instagram perch.
He has the owl on his head. He has it flying over his camper van.
Owl.
Okay. So this guy's really cool. He explains to us that falconry is a 5,000-year-old sport of hunting that has gone back with humans for that long. And for whatever reason, it's still legal in the United States, but it's super like hard. And one of us, I don't know who it was, I think it was you, made the funny joke about like, now would you say it's harder to become a falconer or own a gun? And he like laughed. And then he explained how hard it is to be a falconer. You have to first, like, take a class. Then you have to, like, study under another falconer for 2 years.
2 years.
And that falconer will treat you,
you have to apprentice under a falconer. You have to
apprentice under an already falconer in the community, a licensed falconer. You will then trap a wild falcon with this person.
Yep.
Train
falcon or hawk.
Yeah. A bird of prey.
Bird of prey.
You will train that bird of prey, and then as those 2 years go on, you can do whatever. He actually, when he was done, released his bird back into the wild.
But then you have, like, after 2 years, you have to take, like, other class.
Yeah.
You have to have, like, a wild game and fish person come and check your whole thing. Then you essentially sign over your rights. They can, like, they can
search you at any
time. And it's like so involved to be a falconer.
Yeah.
And you also can't just have a bird. Like, you have to hunt with this bird. This bird has to be a part of hunting.
Yeah,
which
legally,
I feel like if that was the rule of gun, we would all be in such, but it's like, oh no, you have to hunt. You can't just have a gun.
So
like
in Sweden, like, and I don't know if this is in every country, but like my cousin over there, he was telling me that if you want to get a gun, you have to be able to compete in like sport shooting.
Like you have to have like gun safety, and you have like serious gun safety and classes and everything.
And have someone vouch for you and take a class. And then once all those people vouch for you and then you do it, then you actually have to compete at least once a year in a gun competition or a shooting competition or something. So at least it shows you're using it. Whereas like here, like the falcon thing, they have to hunt with it, because he was saying there's like people in the community that everyone knows is just like they got that for Instagram.
Want the bird. They just want the bird.
But you gotta legally hunt with it. It was crazy.
It was unreal.
You could the cool thing about it is this was not like Joe Exotic talk. Like he kept telling us these are not pets. Like these are used as. He was like
very serious about like the proper treatment of the animals.
Yeah,
he was so serious about
with them.
Yes, he does. And then he was so serious about like. I mean, he took such good care of them, and we're like, oh, like they're your pets. And he's like, not at all. No. He's like, they are birds. Yeah. They don't need me in any way. No. And then there was like one that was like imprinted on him. There's like two different types of.
So imprinting is when you get it from like an egg, and it thinks you're its dad
not an
or
egg,
its
like a baby. He said.
Well, yeah, but I mean like. Yeah. An egg fresh out of the egg, fresh out of the shell. Yeah. So you get it and it doesn't know much because the breeders are just trying to get rid of them. And so it thinks that you're its dad. Yeah. And so it grows and it learns from you. And he was like saying, it's really cool because they do like fall in love with you and they become obsessed with you. He's like, but then it's bad because like they can never go into the wild.
Yeah.
Because they don't know they're a bird.
Yes.
Or a hawk. And 2, it's just like they kind of turn on the owner at a certain point, or they test the boundaries.
They test the boundaries, and then it turns
child.
from like parent to like mate a little bit. Is what he was saying, that it can be like a little bit, and of course, like I think it's so funny because I will say it's always an interesting journey in like a different package, because I'm like, he was like a cute little hottie that was like into birds. So all this stuff like that he said, I was like, yeah, totally, I get it.
Yeah.
But then like if that was like an old 85-year-old man that was like, I'm now her father boyfriend, I'd be like, oh God, like get this guy away from the box.
Yeah, we were all like, aw.
I know, we were like, oh my God, you guys are in love.
Yeah. No, but it was really interesting because unlike the redneck guy like that we're making up, like this guy was he was our own age and very knowledgeable about it.
So knowledgeable. I learned that was the thing I think I liked the most, is that he knew so much about it that it wasn't just like I think this a lot with our little group, that group of friends in particular. We're all question askers. We all like ask so many questions. You have like project managers, engineers. You have so many of us in that group. We want to
know how this is working.
All of us, and we've done this a lot. Like even with the boating guy, we rented a boat once, and the guy was like, "Do you guys have any more questions?" Because we all ask so many questions.
Got in here? What kind of fuel you use?
Truly, all of us ask questions whenever we do anything like that. We all ask 1,000 questions. But this one was another one of those cases where we all were like, "How do you train him? What is the process like? How do you do that? What's it like on an everyday basis?"
But he liked it though.
He did. I
normally,
think so.
If you're a tour guide or someone doing something like this, you're like,
like I'll get to it.
Yeah, but he like, you could tell he really loved it, and he loved falconry, and he loved birds and all this stuff.
He also knew so much.
Yeah,
there was so
and
much
I think
I learned.
He was impressed with how much I knew as an amateur.
Do you think so?
I think so.
What part do you think he was impressed?
There was a lot of, there was a lot of stuff that other people didn't know, like when I was talking about the pellets, and then I was identifying the birds before they came out.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah.
And then, all that.
And then he was like, you got a real eye for falconry.
Yeah, he basically did. And
we learned today, after learning that you have to.
Oh, and then I was the one who was like, don't owls fly silently? And he's like, yes, they do.
Yes, they do. Yeah. And then you were like, don't they hear differently? And he's like, they hear depth. Wow, that's pretty cool. See? Delman was the kid in like
yeah.
every class that was like, I know everything there is to know about
I've already looked
Napoleon.
into this, except for the fact that I haven't actually done it. So.
Like, I've wanted to live in falconry for a very long time. We learned really quickly today, though, that we were years away from your falconry license.
Yeah. Well, Kato and I both said we like went aside, or Michael and I both went aside, and we were like talking, and he's like, retirement. I'm like, retirement.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a good plan. I was gonna say I didn't want to like push it, because I also I don't want to ever squash your hopes and dreams. Like if you want to get into falconry, we'll make it happen. It'll be a little weird to have him in our apartment. Yeah. But if you want to get into it. Yeah, he had land. You gotta get land.
The other thing that's funny, and as you were saying about our friends that are like project managers and stuff, they're like trying to understand like his business too.
Yes.
So they're like, so you got in and you can just be a falcon.
Do you contract the bird or do you contract yourself? And I was like, we don't need to ask these questions. Like we don't. None of this needs to happen. Is the bird
part of you,
is
or
the bird,
are you?
What's the LLC in that? What is that under?
He basically said like it's not something you can really do part time.
No, it's like a full time job.
And
I can't imagine it would be something that you can just like get into part time.
I mean, I can if you live in a country or in a state that. You don't need to make a lot of money.
No, you're right.
And you're just like
well, and if you lived in like Wyoming or somewhere
that's what I mean.
Like he said, the biggest thing is that his animals and his birds are trained for the city, which is, he's like, it has completely different things. Yeah. Like one of them was, because he uses them for like, not eradicating, you said like
that was one.
Moving pigeons out of like, if pigeons come and like take over land, or mice take over land, he uses them to kind of like essentially do pest control and stuff, and then he also uses them, like one was in a Dior shoot, which I think is a very funny, like, by day I eradicate pigeons, by night I'm in a Dior
he
commercial.
Basically was saying that most falconers, it's wide open lands like Wyoming or wherever.
They're using them to hunt.
They're using them to hunt. They can fly around. They're much easier to train. There's not distractions.
Yeah.
And they just want them to hunt and come back. He was like, when I was learning how to do this and he was doing his apprenticeship up in Oregon, he's like, was trying to do it part-time, and I realized if I really want to do this and I want to do this right, I have to go full-time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And he's like, and the only way to do that, well, the only way he came up with, because he didn't want to work a 9 to 5, because, we're like, how'd you get into it? And he was talking about it, and then he was like, well, and as you already mentioned, he's like, well, I was already a bird biologist, but I had a 9 to 5 job. And we're like, that's the missing link right now. Because I'm just a comedian.
Could you imagine?
But if I was a bird,
falconer?
Bird biologist turned falconer, that's an easier,
so much easier to understand, I feel.
He was saying like all of his friends in LA were like, they could work at their own schedule, work at their own leisure. So he moved out here with the birds, found a place, and that's what he does. He does educational classes, which it would be so cool if you were a kid.
No, if you were a kid and you saw that and like learned all those things. And
he's so smart because he's a biologist. So he's explaining to us how the 3-dimensional hearing works, and he really gets it. Cool. Then he is licensed to have the Falcon, and he trained with it. And he also has another license for people to being able to use, to
hold it, to be interactive.
Yeah, because he was saying that like as falconers, no one else is allowed to deal with your falcon, but he has like the special license.
It's so cool. It was a really cool thing. It's also, again, he's doing it really well in the sense that like it is super educational, and also sharing that experience was like so cool to like be like, oh my God, we got to experience that. That's like so rad. And I will say like, he was super easygoing, and the birds were awesome. But when he was saying like, oh yeah, they're trained for LA, I didn't even think about that. I was like, yeah, of course there's like 1,000 millions. He was saying like he sends them to go and like, get rid of a pigeon crew. And then like by the time the light turns red, he wants them back to him. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like that's insane to think about these just like, just this hawk normal that's thing, like head ready on a to go.
Well, we actually sadly like witnessed it firsthand because we're in this this park. It's like a super open park, but it's a public park because this guy's like literally like, I fly these birds around downtown LA.
As
like
you should. If they're gonna live in the city, they should like probably do that. You know, it's like when we like had our dogs, we're like, we're gonna need someone with a skateboard to go by us because there's skateboards around us all the time. Yeah,
so he's just getting these things city ready, but it was crazy because there was a child's birthday party right next to us. And these are those like LA parents that like don't do boundaries at all.
That are like, I am not going to talk shit on gentle parenting because I really believe it works. But I also know that gentle parenting is like very specific. And they're the gentle parents that are like, just kind of let them do their own thing. And you're like, cool, because that kid's trying to chase the hawk down.
Yeah, no, that was what was like really weird to me. And I don't know what kind of parenting was going on over there, but there wasn't much.
It was just a bunch of adults that were talking and gabbing, and their kids were like feral.
And so like literally this guy, it's obviously a private party. And there was 1 million tables, so I don't know why they picked next to us.
I don't know why they picked next to us either.
And then like, they're literally popping balloons and stuff, and these birds are just like not having it. And he's like, okay, they're on high alert. So he goes over there and he's like, hey, I'm doing this demonstration. He was like, so if you could please just kind of like, for the safety of everyone.
Keep an eye on the kids.
Because these are basically wild birds that are humongous.
Birds of prey.
He did say something really funny that I'll get to in a second. But so the parents are like, whatever, and they don't do anything.
And then they go back and they're like, anyways, so we've been talking a lot to Jimmy Fallon. And you're like, good God.
Gosh.
Yeah.
And so the guy has like this crazy big Harris hawk on his arm.
Yes.
And he's like, now just so you know, like he gets a little, so we're all like taking a step back. He doesn't realize, but there's like a child like literally like not like pulling on his like the bird is freaking out.
It's like coming really close to him, way too close to.
And then even he's like, "Can you go away?" And the girl's just like staring at the bird, and like literally the dad comes over and he's like, "Sorry about that" or something, and the guy's literally like, "I have this crazy bird."
Yeah, and he's like, there in a weird way. You're like, if there was like a man with giant fucking birds around me, I would feel like I'd have a conversation with my kid of like, hey, maybe leave the giant bird man alone.
Well, even as we talked about, if I saw a man with 2 like AK-47s on, I'd also be like, hey, maybe leave the guy with the... He's licensed and that's fine, but let's not get too close.
Because literally at one point, one of the kids like went over and just kept like lifting his arm up to the hawk, and we were like, No.
I mean, I get it, because as a kid, I would have been like,
I know, and I always feel bad because, like,
because you know,
I'm the one that is always like, I'm sent as like Aunt Lee to be like, that's enough, move. And
well,
like,
what happened is we kept like going further away from them so the birds would feel safe, and they kept just following us to the point where he's left 3 hawks in these like kind of cagey things.
Yeah.
And the kids are now on our table, and they're like messing with and he's just like,
listen, man.
What I do love about him is because, of course, we're all like, should we tell him to go? Should we tell him to go?
Yeah.
He's like, I told their parents. I told them. He's like, so if they open that cage, a hawk is gonna rip their face apart or something like that. And he's like, they'll learn. And
even more so why I think we really lucked out that he was just like a cutie. Because again, if that was a 70-year-old man of like, if they open that cage, hawks are gonna rip their face off. Exactly. We would have been like, oh
no, but he's not wrong.
No.
And especially as like a survivor or like the wild and birds. He's just like, they'll learn.
Look, man,
like,
and that's just so. It's an important lesson for everyone to learn. Hawks can kill. Okay,
kids especially.
Hey, kids. Hawks
and then
can kill.
like he was telling us like they hate pinata, or they didn't like pinatas and they don't like balloons. Meanwhile, of course the dad hangs a pinata on cue.
Well, and like there was a little owl guy, and he was so.
He was
I
a
would
barn
say
owl.
he was really cute.
Yeah,
he was very cute. A little barn owl guy named Archie, and he was as cute as they come.
Oh yeah.
And he like saw a Mylar balloon, and he literally was like, the fuck is that? Like,
yeah.
You watched him be like, I'm a little bird, and then you watched him like literally go like whomp, and just like look down the barrel of the Mylar balloon, being like, is this a predator?
I know.
And so we're like, maybe put Archie back a little bit.
But it was awesome, and like they landed on you, and then when they'd landed after they'd eat, they look right through your eyes, like into your soul.
How did you feel with that? Did you feel a little soul crush or soul like livening?
I really liked it. I will say that I wanted to show the bird that I respect it.
Sure. How do you do that? With just a look,
you stare right back, and
good,
you don't
good.
break eye contact.
Good.
Yeah, I held it high. Good.
Just
like
so
that.
high,
Yeah.
just like right up.
It was cool. It was the same as the jet ski though. It's like I just got a taste,
Now you want to go back?
Yeah, and I would like a combo of the two, because he was like saying, he was being responsible to us, but after going on that Instagram, this guy's
wild.
Wild.
Yeah, he's wild.
Like
he was being very nice. Like we were like, "Hi, we'd love to touch an owl," and he was like,
"There
cool.
is a very good chance this guy has jet skied, and that hawk
with
has
a hawk
flown
on it.
right
yeah,
next
100%.
to him."
What are you kidding me? They fish together. Are you nuts?
Yeah, no, because there's a picture of his like really cool camper, and Jasper, the Harris hawk, is flying over at full wingspan. And
I'm so glad you brought up Jasper, the Harris hawk. I really am.
Good.
And here's why.
Yeah.
I think you might have picked up on it. I think everyone in our group picked up on it.
Oh, yeah.
There was some pretty profound sexual tension between me and that hawk. I don't know how to explain it, but he was the handsomest hawk I've ever seen in my life.
I love a black hawk.
No, he wasn't. He was a brown cock, but
brown what? I'm sorry. What was that?
Brown hawk. But he really was like, and like even like halfway through it, that's when he was like teasing, and he's like, "Well, you did just do a Dior shoot," and we're like, "Of course he did, because he's the handsomest hawk I have ever seen in my life." Yeah, and
he was in a Janelle Monáe video.
He was stunning. He was like so beautiful and so wild and feral, and he was definitely one where you like made eye contact, but then also were like, I don't know about this. It's kind of like looking into fire too long. I'm in danger.
Yeah.
But he was so cool. But then there was like this weird like we were in simpatico. We were in love. We were probably gonna like run away together. Yeah. Like I felt like if I kissed him on the mouth a little bit,
you definitely get mice guts.
Okay. I feel like he would have turned into a prince. Yeah. And then maybe we would have like gone away together to a different island or like some sort of fairyland that the humans don't know about,
But why would you leave us behind?
I don't know. Do you want to come?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of our friends was like, would you be down with a throuple? I'm like, as long as I can like be a part of it. I don't want to just watch.
No, you have to be a part of the throuple. Yeah.
If he could rest on my shoulder, I could massage his.
Sure. Good.
Like whatever. He'd perch on my perch.
Yeah, it's good. It's nice.
I'd perch on his
And they're
perch.
like, oh, this is an interesting trio. Just Delman, Lee, and Jasper.
I want to do some beak to beak rubbing.
Yeah, I do want a nuzzle beak. But he was one that was truly like, there's that, viral TikTok sound that's like, no petting.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the little owl was so sweet and we could like pet him and he was so nice. And then we're like, does this guy like to be pet? And he's like, absolutely
and
not.
then he goes to pet him and the thing bites him, but he's used to it, so he takes it. But
he doesn't bite him in a bad way. He bites him in like a little like.
But still, if you're used to it, you're used to it. But I'd still be like, oh my god.
We learned another cool thing of like in the training that was like, if you are training him, he was like, you can't pull your hand away because that gives them the response that they want.
Yeah.
So then you have to literally like kind of be like,
afraid.
Hey, here's my hand, nuzzle my hand, bite on it if you want, but you're like, you're not gonna, it's not gonna affect me.
Yeah, because he was doing the whole like, you guys have your dumb gloves, but I don't even need a glove. I mean, he had a glove for the big ones, but the owl,
he was so cool.
Yeah,
he didn't even need a glove.
I will say, after seeing the whole thing, I love how much he loves it.
Yeah,
and I love that he's living a dream that I can't live 24/7. Okay. But I'm glad he let me get a glimpse. I want another glimpse. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna hit him up, I think, again, and like maybe see if we could hang out. Maybe I'll say if I'm coming to take
him or like him and the Hawks.
Oh, mainly the Hawks.
Yeah,
like I don't need to be his friend as much as
how do I schedule a hangout with just me and the Hawks? You can be there.
No. I'd like him to be there. He was interesting because I have more questions.
You got a lot more questions. Yeah. I felt like you didn't give enough questions. I mean, you did ask a lot of questions, but I knew you had more.
But were you the one? And was it? I think it was on this podcast where we were talking about like training ravens and having them like follow you everywhere.
I told you I want that more than anything in my life.
I know, but I think we were talking about like what would happen if like for whatever reason they just all started following you around.
Yeah. I've always wanted it.
And I was like there and there were so many ravens that were showing up while these birds were flying around, and I was like, I had that thought in my head. I was like, sorry, sir, I am
the raven.
I am the master of the raven. No hard feelings.
Apologize.
My ravens will
You have your hawks. I have my ravens.
Thousands of ravens.
Meanwhile, ours just want raisins. They're like,
yeah.
I will say, I mean, I'm working on, as you know, the crows that are around us. I am really honestly working on it. It's a lot more involved because we don't have like the area for them. And also we have like there's like this little area.
One brought you a rusty nail.
One did bring me a rusty nail. One did bring me a rusty nail. Yeah. Oh man, yeah, that's true, and that really feels very special.
Yeah.
But there's like a little ledge that I put stuff on, and then of course there's like these weird there's the ravens that are like deep, deep, deep. Thank you so much for the peanuts. And then there's these like squirrels that are like, I'm gonna hammer slam all of these, and they just like take it all, and I'm like, you little assholes. Yeah. And they do it. They don't even care. They ruin the whole thing for everyone. So I feel like I need to put it up high where the ravens can come and the squirrels cannot. But it's hard to be a falconer in an apartment. It's probably hard to be.
I'm going to start with a toucan.
Delman,
you can buy because they're unregulated, probably because they're so illegal.
Yeah.
But you can buy them where I grew up at the Chino auction.
We're not getting a toucan. Do you know how loud a toucan is?
Not these ones.
These ones are absolutely as loud as every other toucan.
No, they've been probably debeaked.
Yeah, you've been de-squawked. No, if I started laser pointing food to Frankenstein, I get her a perch in a month. I know it. I know Frank I could get her to have
talons or claws, and she's not going to attack children.
Not yet.
She's just going to go up to them and
lick them on their face. She's a descendant of a wolf.
I mean, that's these are still hawks. If you had a wolf, that'd be a different story. Those are still hawks. They're not like finches. Right. And he's like, this used to be a hawk.
He did trust them entirely. And you're right. That was a real lesson in where he was just like, I'm just being cool. The other thing I will say is that
guy has to have naked photos though of him and the hawks, right?
No, Delman, not everyone has naked photos of them and their animals. I'm gonna cut that.
I don't have them of me and my
No,
animals.
that guy definitely doesn't.
Or not that, but I meant that guy's dating profile is definitely him and a bunch of hawks.
It better be. That guy's dating profile better be him and a bunch of hawks, because if I went on a date with someone and then came over to their house and they had a bunch of hawks, I'd be like, whoa.
He definitely knows what he's doing, because his Instagram is some gorgeous LA children holding the hawks.
Sure.
So this is a double whammy.
Yeah,
like,
he's got
you
this
just
in
see
the
these
zone.
beautiful blonde children holding these hawks.
Sure.
And then it cuts to him in his camping situation with the hawks.
He's got a cool thing going.
But it was the same as when we were on that sheep farm in Ireland, and we're like, this is it. And the guy's like, every day's a nightmare. You know, like he's a slave to the job.
Everything is, I think it's like that. I feel, honestly, the lesson in it all is that everything is that way. Like, life is tedious and tumultuous, and life can be overbearing with everything. Every time we're like, oh, I'm going to be a sheep farmer. And then we go to the sheep farmer and he's like, it's a nightmare. The little one has bloat. Yeah. And then like we go
well, that's also because he can't. Like, things are changing, so you can't just survive off the 300 sheep. So he has to open it up. Like, even this guy, he's like, can't just be a falconer. I have to, like, teach these classes, teach these things in the park. I have to rent it out on Dior.
I think that's the lesson is that, like, even, like, it's fully grass is greener. Yeah. And then, I mean, as we've experienced in our lives, is like, even if you are those, like, massively mega rich assholes, it's like, okay, well, half of them die from stomach ulcers, or they got where they are, like, with the most bent moral compass of all time, like, on the backs of other people. Sure. And, like, that's not something I want to live and die with. So,
and I think he's doing it right. I mean, he could make the other choice and just go with those birds into the middle of nowhere and just hunt for his own food and live off the land. But he doesn't want to.
Maybe he will someday in his life. Yeah. Do you think, like, in your 60s you'll get into falconry?
I think probably in my, like, late 30s.
You're in your late 30s.
I'm in my mid 30s.
Okay, so a year until we dive into falconry.
Just saying.
All right.
When I get that house.
When I get that jet ski.
The minute I get that house.
When I get that house. When I get that jet ski.
This is how I'll know.
Oh, no.
I'll see the falcon. And he'll see me. Remember when we were at that Taco Bell in Santa Clarita and that falcon landed on that to-go order thing? And he stayed there for a while?
One time
That's my guy.
Okay.
And he's going to find me.
I'm just going to let people know that one time we were in the line for Taco Bell and there was a falcon. And he was hunting, and he literally like saw Mexican a squirrel pizzas. Or something, and he literally, he was like,
"Get an
enchilada, baby. It's canceled, but you can ask them to still make it." There was a guy, and he was on a pole, and we were like, "Oh my god, look at that amazing hawk!" And then we watched him like dive down and grab a mouse, and we were like, "That's the coolest thing I've ever seen." And from that day, you've literally said you've been like.
That's my
every
guy.
Poll you're like, look for a hawk, look for
I grew up with a lot of them. I like them. I respect them. I don't want to own one. I love the idea that see, this was the dream. I was trying to explain it to someone who was there today. This is the dream. And maybe it was just like when I came up, because he's a little younger than me, and he's like, I missed out on a lot of those 90s blah 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 movies. Like, he had it nailed.
He was like, I don't know your journey.
Because I was like, my dream was more of the Andre or the Free Willy approach.
Sure, absolutely.
Like, I saved this hawk who got tangled up in something.
That's also Rescuers Down Under.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I rescued them back to health.
Yeah.
And then I released them back into the wild. But
Marahote, was that her name? Marahote.
Yeah. And then even in Fly Away Home, like there was a lot. And then they remembered the good deed I did. Yeah. And then for the rest of both of our lives, they just like say what's up. They might land on my arm if I got a glove on.
I mean this very kindly.
But I don't want to own it. I just want to high five it.
But I'm just letting you know, because I know you. Yeah. If there was an instance in which you did save a whale, hawk, bird, condor, eagle, fat chug, pig.
Frankenstein.
Literally, if there was an instance, you would forever be chasing that. You'd be like, remember that one time that I saved that eagle? I gotta save another eagle. Well, no, I know you would.
I'm saying, if this was a relationship and the eagle always came back. Like, did you see that one where it was, I forget the lion's name, but...
Oh, yeah. I've seen a bunch of those videos where it's like, they raised him as a cub, and then the dog and the lion be like, I missed you. And then they bumped
into him in the Serengeti, and they're like hugging, and then they showed him the family.
It always looks a little aggressive, those hugs.
I want that. Well... to us, but to them, it's just like old times.
Yeah.
And I want that moment with a wild animal. I want them to accept me into their...
I don't know how to facilitate it, but I want it for you too.
But I don't know what kind it's going to be. It could be a puffin. It could be an albatross. It could be a condor.
Wow.
But this is the other hard part.
Okay.
I'm not a bird biologist. I'm not a falconer.
That's
and
a
I
fact.
don't work at the San Diego Zoo like my friend who's very close with these condors. So, like, I don't really know how this is going to happen, but it'll happen.
Okay. I love this for you. I really do.
I'm in no ways a social media influencer by any means.
Sure.
But it's funny, like, even doing this podcast and, like, putting stuff out there that you want to do, you almost feel like, well, I have to do it now because these people are looking.
I mean...
And in a weird way, like...
You're glad that you were talking about falconry and that we decided to actually finally go and do some falconry. And I'm excited
that I just told the audience that I will get into it in a few years.
And by few, you mean like in your 60s?
I'm going to befriend that man.
Okay.
And become like the weird uncle to the Falcons. I don't want to be the full Falcon.
I think maybe...
but I want to...
No, like a cool friend
cool
to the
friend uncle. Yeah. No, I want to show up and be like, what's up? And the bird's like, oh, shit, Dell's here. And eagle eye. And then I like toss him a tecate. They grab it in their hand.
They won't be drinking the tecate.
Well, they're the spokesperson of the tecate, the black eagle.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
The eagle.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah. So they'll grab one.
Okay. Maybe they're tossing you the tecate.
That's fine. I'll hold up a Mexican flag. They'll fly in front of it. Grab a snake. It'll be great.
Cool.
We'll just
I love
do
that
eagle
for you.
stuff.
Yeah, just do some cool eagle stuff.
And then I want to train my eagle.
Okay.
I'm gonna hit a golf ball. The eagle's gonna catch it, and then it's gonna fly down and drop it in the hole and get me an eagle. And that'll be an eagle.
This is how I know you're not ready to be a falconer. This is how I know.
Well,
you have to hunt with it. You can't just use it for your benefit.
Well, the guy had a funny story because he's like, I like to often think about the first guy that was like, I'm going to train one of those.
Yeah, that is
and
a
he's
wild
like, that was
thing.
crazy. And then he was like, and humans are amazing because we can do what we put our minds to. And I really listened to that. And I'm trying to take falconry to the next level.
Okay.
It's 5,000 years old. I'm about to make it new again.
Okay. He's really turning the falconry on its head. This guy's got some
the Falcon owns
hopes and
him?
ideas.
Yeah.
God, I love it. Would you want to dive into some melting pot?
Yeah, let's answer some questions. Melting pot.
No, absolutely not.
That's Hawkeye. That was I'm a DJ Hawkeye. I'm just trying stuff out. You know, if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't hit, it hits.
It's gonna tank. I can feel it already in my bones.
What I learned is you gotta fly like an eagle. Micah Jane says, if you were butter, what would you spread yourself on?
That's a really good question. One, I like to think that I'd be like a nice fancy butter, but I know myself. I'm just like a lucerne type of situation. Whoa. I'm pretty high, chunky fat.
Ooh.
And honestly, I'd like to say like toast or a bagel or something, but I know me. And I'm going to slap myself right in between a thick thighs of a potato, baby.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, I think so.
That's really
Doesn't
nice.
that feel like right for me? Like if I was butter, I would absolutely be nestled in a nice little chunky potato.
That's nice.
Yeah, thank you.
I think I'd be like raw butter, like hand churned.
Oh.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, don't. You're
just gonna throw me on a steak.
Yeah. Whoa.
Or I'm going out in a cast iron.
Good for you.
Okay.
This is actually one of my favorite ones.
Oh, you're gonna ask me one.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. Clifford Long Official had probably my favorite question of the entire question journey. He said, "Would you rather save the life of a child you will never meet, or own a fully functioning lightsaber?"
Well, if I choose,
you're actually thinking about it?
Oh yeah.
No.
If I choose to not have the lightsaber, I'm probably saving a child already. Because if
you're gonna kill it. If you,
I'm gonna be like, whoa, and I'm like, oh no,
oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, no one told me they were this deadly. I do apologize.
Okay, so fully functioning means fully.
If you see a man in a park with a fully functioning lightsaber, warn your kid.
No, these kids would be the ones that would run up to it and be like, these kids are gonna get hurt very soon.
I would probably absolutely save the life of a child. Because I'm not a monster. But I feel like I want like a parade or something for not getting that fully functioning lightsaber. Because those things are expensive. And it would be really cool to just like have that as a weapon. Because they're also kind of safe, you know? Like they're only going to be like in my hands. Yeah. So I'm going to be wielding it. I don't know. I feel like I feel like I'm gonna think about that lightsaber every day of my life.
Yeah.
But I'll save a child.
That's good.
You?
I'm sticking with mine of like, by not having one, a child will be saved.
So 2 children are going to be saved.
Yeah. So I'm just going to, I don't need one. I'm not a nerd like that.
Oh, I'm not a nerd like that.
I can just get a hawk.
Yeah, sure.
I
Why
can
have
wield
a
that
lightsaber
around?
when you can yield a hawk around?
Which is something that's already real.
Not no. Right.
Yeah. It just seems like a lot, and you'd have to charge the lightsaber somehow. Like, they don't tell you that, but that definitely has like a lightning cable.
I don't know. They never covered that, and that's no lightning cable with a like
USB-C.
No, it's got to have like some centripetal energy.
If you
that
actually
charges
understand
itself.
this, it's gonna run out.
Yeah. Okay. That's right.
All right.
It's probably really hot too. I always think
it's hot. It's definitely hot.
You're like sweating the whole time you're using it.
Hot.
It's so hot.
And it's so bright. If you look at it.
Yeah.
If you owned Instagram, this is from Allison Hunt, who I actually went to high school with.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Shout out.
And the funny thing is like all the references I make, she actually gets them. Like,
she's known you forever.
Well, yeah, she was literally, when I was talking about the 7 Wonders of the World, she was like, "Is that this camp?" She went there too.
Yeah,
and
I
then
love
like anyways. Good question, Allison. It is, and she's an amazing artist. Check her out. Allison Jones Hunt on Instagram. If you owned Instagram, how would you change it to make it less of a negative influence?
I think about this a lot. I really feel like it should have stayed like a space for small like businesses. I mean, there's a million ways I would change it. It really is. But the thing that I can think of quickly and how it should be is, I used to follow like a million small businesses, and slowly but surely, like they all kind of faded from my timeline.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I would be like, where's that one jacket place that I follow? Where's that one this that I follow? And I loved learning about like places that I would have never heard of. There's this amazing woman that I follow, and her name is Tandem Vintage online, and she has like all these amazing, wonderful vintage things, and she's in like Missoula, and I would have never known about her. I would have never known anything, but she had such a curated eye that I followed her, and then I started like, she'd do story sales, and I'd start like buying weird fun little things. Where you find people you don't know, but exactly, you like, and like now we're like friends. I've like sent her different beads and jewelries and things, and like she's gone through things, and we've like had like so many deep communications. And I think that's one of the most beautiful parts about it, is that here's this person that I would have never known about. I would change the algorithm back to that. I mean, like I see so many. There
is an option if you click the following.
It's not the same. I understand, but it's like I think now it's such like a space for like ads and this and fair. Like they really push like what they want to push forward instead of actual like. It's shadow banned so many different artists that I know. Shadow banned so many different things.
I think you're right. I had a different thought in my head, but I think what you're saying is it's not the people on Instagram, it's the app itself.
Yes.
Whereas I thought a different way, because I was just thinking about the people that post all these fake things, like that girl pretending to pick up trash.
That's fine. We can like move. I mean, like that I feel like as a society we can see and go, okay, that's bullshit. Yeah. I really do. But for me, the thing that I want more and more and more is that like that was such a weird way for me to connect with like the entire world and to see my likes and interests that I would have never been able to like see.
I think your idea is better than mine.
But I'm so sorry. Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah. My idea was, I was like, you can only post from that day.
No.
If you took it, or unless it's
I don't
Throwback Thursday. That's the only time you can post from the past.
I think sometimes, especially Instagram, is a real like definer of burnout. Like that's like, because sometimes people feel so like, I need to show off my life in this way when it's happening. And for me, a few years back, I feel like I learned very quickly that like, live in whatever moment you want to live in, because that's what matters at the end of the day. Like it doesn't matter that you posted about it. It doesn't matter you did this about. I still do, and like I now will retroactively post about things if I want to.
But you're good about posting, like about not making it too fake. Like people get to keep up with
but it's because I don't like seeing that. I don't like seeing these manicured whatever posts, and I think it's like less about that, because again, I can call bullshit on that, but I live in Hollywood, so I can. That's a pretty easy tell for me.
But I think what we're saying is Zuckerberg is evil.
Oh no one's questioning that. No one is questioning that at all. Absolutely. Oh, someone said, Lapel asked, watching Jewish Matchmaker on Netflix, do you think a matchmaker would set you guys up?
Not a Jewish one.
No, not at all.
Well, I think a matchmaker might, but not a
You think so?
Not a Jewish.
No,
matchmaker,
not a Jewish one.
Because they're going to be matching Jews with other Jews. Like it's this very strict thing that they do.
I guess I never like.
And you're not.
I was again. Well, that's true. And I was raised like very conservative Christian.
Yeah.
And you were raised
really Reformed Jewish.
Very Reformed Jewish.
So Jewish.
Sure. Yeah. And it's weird, like to think of like us coming together in that way, but we don't. I don't think we. We've been together 11 years. Though. I don't think there's ever been like any like real holdups of like what you believe and what I believe, because I think we're kind of both on similar
there are
pages.
Maybe some things, but
sure.
I mean like
no,
it's not
real.
a game changer. Like you want kids, I hate kids.
Sure,
I believe in aliens. You hate aliens. You love. No, I'm just
Second
kidding.
Coming of Christ. Yeah, an alien. Yeah, no, totally. No.
I think that was the thing. Is like I can't speak for other people because I'm fairly odd, and you're odd in your own way.
Thank you so much.
We like similar. I don't know. It just worked out. For me, it's like we weren't looking, but also it made sense. And so I don't know what a matchmaker would do, because I personally have never. We were set up by a friend.
We were set up by a friend. Yeah.
A matchmaker did match us.
Yeah. She was just like a feral one that was like.
It wouldn't have happened without her, maybe.
No, I don't think it would have. No. Because you were taking a class with her at the Groundlings. Yeah. And then I was living with her. She was my roommate at the time. Yeah, and
you were in Groundlings too, but and a little truly, behind me.
I mean, what I will say is that when she came to pitch you, I don't know what she said to pitch me, but when she came to pitch you, she literally was like, this guy has your sense of humor. She was like, he, like the way that he talks, what the things that he finds funny, like are 100% your sense of humor. And that was such a big sell for me. And then I saw you and you were like so cute and you were so funny in that show. And then I was like, well, here I am. Now I'm obsessed. So I have to throw myself at you. Yeah. And then
and I mean, she knew that I was like timid about making the first move and all that stuff. So like, so I mean, we got a lot of help from some friends. So I would say if it was a good matchmaker who was in the right place,
would see that we were like connected in that way. Yeah.
I haven't watched Jewish Matchmaker yet. I'm excited to watch it, but I do also think that I'm very skeptical on those things.
I mean, so am I. One time I went on eHarmony years ago. I was like, oh, this is like, like I felt like it was safe because like everyone in LA was like, I'd met so many weird scumbags in LA and I'd like gone on dates with people. And then I was like, oh, you're a garbage human being. Yeah. And so I was like, I'll go on eHarmony because it like really guises itself as like, it really gets to know you and what you're not. I mean, I know, but it was also like free. Like Laura, the roommate that we were just talking about, we both were like, hey, it's free this weekend. We should sign up as like a haha. Yeah. This is funny. And then I went on one and it was such like a funny experience because truly the guy that I was with, I don't think he wanted a girlfriend. I don't think he wanted any part of a relationship. He was just like, I'm doing this because this is what you do. And it was so weird. And at one point, I'm very touchy. I'm so touchy. Yeah. And I literally like touched him, like literally just like touched him. And he was like, you need to slow down. Wow. And I was like, I think we're going to be in a little bit of trouble. But I remember that was doing that.
You touched me and I was like, wow.
Is that true?
Yeah. And I was like, she touched me.
I did. I like grabbed onto your face when I first met you. I like touched your face.
I was like, who
just
handsome. Does that? She doesn't even care about boundaries.
I did not care at all.
And it helps that you're hilarious and very good looking.
I'll touch. I'm a toucher. I am. I feel like I'm going to get in that
I don't know.
space.
If we were both in the same place at the same time and cast on the same show, maybe. But I don't really know how this documentary
I have no idea how it works either.
We were a match made by Alora.
And
I've made other matches.
I know, so have
you
I.
You helped match one of your YouTube friends and
Lisa
one of our Groundlings friends. Yeah. Like you helped match them.
She does YouTube stuff, and it was a very fun thing. Now she's like pregnant with his child.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's so cool to see.
You helped that.
I love when that
happens.
I've helped
with our other friends. I mean, I think matchmaking is good if the person knows you.
If you know, because it's also, I think that's such a weird world to be in. So you go like, you know what? I think you can. Yeah. If you need help, then I'm happy to help you.
All right, I got one from Mikol.
Okay, great.
Michael. Bidet or baby wipes?
Good God.
This is a very important question that I'm very passionate about.
Bidet every day of my life.
Bidet all day.
Baby
day.
Wipes. Let's talk about the waist.
That's not a bad alternative.
Alternative is the only word it is, but the waist of it. The waist of it. The landfill. Let's talk about it.
listen, I was a
Skeptic.
toilet paper boy, you know? I'm doing 5-ply, 6-ply. I'm doing so many
toilet
ply.
paper boy.
You know?
Is dumb, and I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if the world's ready for
I
that.
even remember taking a class in college
About toilet paper.
Well, no, it was literally a class on the Amazon and the rainforest in Brazil specifically.
Sure.
And it was about
so many classes that you took in college. I'm like, how the fuck do they offer these things? But I love it for you. Keep going.
And so we're in this class, and the teacher, she's very big on the rainforest, as I was saying, and she yelled at everyone, and she's like, there's no reason you should be wiping your ass with 5-ply toilet paper because they're tearing down the rainforest. Yeah. And she's like, if you got to do it. And then and I tried it, and I was like, no, I'm sorry, rainforest. I'm 5-ply guy. Until you're like, we need a bidet. Yeah. And I'm like, this is another one of the crazy Lee things that she does.
I don't think my crazy Lee things are like fixing your life.
Yeah. She's just trying to touch my butt with some cold water for her own pleasure.
You know me.
Yeah. Just trying to squirt some stuff in there. And
God.
No, but the thing that sold me on it was the reviews on Yelp.
Yeah,
and
100%.
And I mean, I'm sure I've talked about this.
No, it was like the Amazon reviews.
Yeah, you're reading them, and it's all like, one lady literally was like,
she's like, if you drop peanut butter on a carpet, are you just going to wipe it out?
Yeah.
Or are you going to wash it out?
Yeah, with water. And I'm like,
this is a great review.
And
that's a fantastic
guys
review.
Were like,
yeah.
And so it's like, we'll give it a try.
You've never gone back.
Not only do we use way less toilet paper,
sure,
it's a game changer. But now when I go somewhere or I go camping or something, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, when you go without a bidet, now that you feel like you're traveling back in time.
So it's a bidet all the way.
Okay, for me. Great. Yeah, I feel like absolutely me too.
Final one.
All right, are you ready?
Would you rather eat?
I love a would you rather. Go.
Would you rather eat your favorite meal every day or eat something different every day and never repeat?
Oh, that's a nightmare for me.
Yeah.
You know I love variety.
Yeah.
You know I love variety.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to, gut reaction, I'm just going to have to never repeat. And that really sucks. I hope I can do variations on a theme. I hope if I have a bulgogi bowl, I can do some weird variation of it later on down the line, you know?
You're going to run out at a certain point.
No, I don't think I am. Okay. There's a lot of variations of the theme or whatever.
How many days do you think you have left?
Oh my God, you're right. I have so many days
left. So a billion days
but I can't imagine,
about 30 years.
Because also,
so you can
my
come up
favorite
with a billion
meals are...
recipes?
Whoa. No, but I can do a hamburger with pickles, a hamburger without pickles.
It counts. Not the same.
No, I mean, that is tough. But I also can't imagine doing that many days with if my favorite meal is, I have a million, but if my favorite meal is some weird bowl, healthy bowl, I'll be like, this is my absolute.
But why would that be your favorite meal?
I don't know. My favorite meal, honestly. Let's just say
it's mac and cheese or hot dogs or mac and cheese with hot dogs.
You can't do that. You can't do that every day.
Not?
That's a nightmare. That's a full-blown sensory nightmare. Not only will you get so bored of it, but then the idea of the world is still going to exist with all the food around it. So then you're going to get to see everyone be like, this chocolate cake is amazing. And you're like, cool, I have to eat mac and cheese for the rest of my life.
I would assume everyone's in a similar situation. Why just you?
Because that's the would you rather. It's you. They didn't say would the world rather.
Well, obviously I'm not just going to do this for
this is how the world works.
Well,
this is how it works.
You only got the would you rather and everyone else is normal?
Yeah, they probably got some other would you rather. Would you rather have a hawk or a lightsaber? That's how they got
hawk, obviously.
Yeah, duh.
But,
you're not stupid.
But, okay, if we're playing this game, if I'm living with you and you're also under this would you rather.
Oh, that's tough.
Well, because if I can just eat whatever I want, but you have to, that sucks. But if we're in it together, I'll do the changing one because you're very creative.
Thank you so much.
But if it's just me, I'm just sticking with it. Do you know how much time you would save not having to think about what to eat? You could just do whatever you want. You're like, yeah, it's the same. Weasel does it.
So sad.
Frankie does it. They just eat kibble all day, every day. No. That's all they eat.
I really, truly think that would take away so much joy in my life.
For me, not really.
You have to have Thanksgiving dinner every single day.
Well, that's not my favorite meal.
What's your favorite meal?
I don't know.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. But if I was given this ultimatum, I would choose, and I could stick to it.
It's also really bad to eat ramen every single day of your life.
I don't know. It's been working out so far so well. So far so good.
So far so well. So far so well.
Well,
thank you so much for joining us. Why? Why?
It was fun.
No.
We had fun.
Thank you so much for joining us. I really did miss you guys a lot, actually.
I actually did, too.
I'm so glad that we're back. I'm so glad that you guys have really gotten to experience our wonderful journey with the Falcons.
Yeah.
And, look forward to all of our posts about slowly and surely becoming Falconers. Has there been a husband-wife duo in Falconry? I'm positive there has been. Mm-hmm. We should probably find our mentors.
Yeah.
I love you. Stay cozy.
Stay stinky.